Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're stepping back from our usual format to do something entirely different and honestly, something deeply necessary. We're going to immerse ourselves directly in the raw, unfiltered voice of one of the greatest literary and philosophical minds in American history. We are looking at The Cross of Redemption, Uncollected Writings by James Baldwin.
This explainer is filled with the most striking quotations from this work, lines so powerful they will make you want to read the entire book immediately. We're going to let Baldwin's words speak for themselves, while we unpack the sheer weight behind them. Section 1. The Artist and Truth, the Burden of the Poet. Baldwin really believed that society often lies to itself, kind of maintaining this comfortable facade, and that makes the role of the creator absolutely vital. He puts it like this: the poets, by which I mean all artists, are finally the only people who know the truth about us. And because artists hold that truth, they carry a massive responsibility. They literally cannot let us just settle. He says, it is the writer who must always remember that morality, if it is to remain or become morality, must be perpetually examined, cracked, changed, made new. So, what is the artist's ultimate job? Well, he boils it down to one incredibly grueling task: to tell as much of the truth as one can bear, and then a little more. It's all about constantly pushing past our collective comfort zones to face what's actually real.
Section 2. The American Illusion, a Nation's Myths.
But what happens when that truth directly confronts a nation's deepest myths? Baldwin saw this desperate clinging to innocence in the country's narrative. He observed, the American need for justification is a good deal stronger than the American sense of time. We want to be proven right now, entirely regardless of the deep historical context that surrounds us.
And when he looked really closely at how the country was built, his assessment was completely unflinching. It's meant to shake you awake. Listen to this. We are a criminal nation, built on a lie, and as the world cannot use us, it will presently find some way of disposing of us.
That lie, that massive gap between our stated ideals and the historical reality, is the very foundation of the country's cognitive dissonance. Baldwin writes, the attempt to avoid this fact, I consider one of the keys to what we can call loosely the American psychology.
Section 3. The Weight of Race, the Reality of the Condition.
This psychological avoidance brings us straight to the weight of race and the brutal reality of the Black American condition as Baldwin lived it. For him, the true horror of systemic racism wasn't just physical, it was internal. It broke the spirit. He observes, the American triumph, in which the American tragedy has always been implicit, was to make Black people despise themselves.
He expands on this idea of psychological projection, stating, what it means to be a Negro in this country is that you are the receptacle of and the vehicle of all the pain, disaster, sorrow which white Americans think they can escape. And when this system targets the youth, teaching them their inferiority before they've even really begun to live, Baldwin views that as the ultimate spiritual failure. To persuade Black boys and girls that their lives are worth less than other lives is worse than a crime. It is the sin against the Holy Ghost.
The sheer scale of this issue, he argues, threatens the foundation of the entire country. The full story of white and Black in this country is more vast and shattering than we would like to believe, and like an unhindered infection in the body, it has the power to make our whole organism sick.
Section 4. Salvation through love, the wheel in the middle of the wheel.
But here's the thing. Despite that infection, Baldwin absolutely did not leave us without a cure. Our final theme explores his radical concept of salvation through love, and he didn't see this as a passive emotion, but as a desperately necessary political and social action. In order for us to survive and transcend the terrible days ahead of us, the country will have to turn and take me in its arms.
Right at the core of his philosophy was an absolute prerequisite for moving forward. He says, there is absolutely no salvation without love. This is the wheel in the middle of the wheel. It is the engine of true change.
Unlike the myths and psychological defenses that constantly separate us, true love unifies. Salvation does not divide. Salvation connects, so that one sees oneself in others and others in oneself.
Now, this kind of love won't magically shield us from harsh truths or the pain of reality, but it offers something so much deeper. It protects one from nothing except one thing. One will never curse God or man.
Man, stepping back into those words is heavy, but it's such a deeply necessary experience. James Baldwin possessed this profound ability to articulate the complexities of truth, identity, and love with completely uncompromising clarity. So, which quote hits you the hardest? Drop a comment below with your favorite line. And make sure to subscribe to The Explainer for more deep dives and literary insights. We'll catch you next time.